Looking at example 3, first thing we need to talk about are reciprocals. And reciprocals, I just want you to write down flipped fraction. All it means when you find the reciprocal is that you are flipping the fraction. So what does that look like? Well, to find the reciprocal of each number, 2/7, the reciprocal of 2/7 would just be 7/2. All I did was I flipped this fraction. Denominator became the numerator, numerator became the denominator. What's the reciprocal of 1/8? Well, that would be 8/1. And remember, if it's a denominator of 1, that just means it is a whole number, such as 8. So the reciprocal of 1/8, you can either write it as 8/1, or it's easier to just write it as 8, but both of these mean the same thing, so both of those would be acceptable. Whole numbers are the tricky ones to find the reciprocal of. And the reason is because I don't see a fraction, so how in the world am I supposed to flip it? But if we use what we just talked about over here, in that 8 is the same thing as 8/1, that means 5 is the same thing as 5/1. These would be the same things, 5 and 5/1. And when I write it as 5/1, now I see a fraction to flip, so the reciprocal of 5 would just be 1/5. Whenever you're working with a whole number and you need to find the reciprocal, just put it over 1, because remember, dividing by 1 doesn't change it, and then it makes it easy to see what the reciprocal should be. The reciprocal of 5, or 5/1, is just 1/5. So looking at our last example, we're going to actually divide. To divide fractions, all you do is multiply by the reciprocal, which we just talked about. That's our flipped fraction. And you guys have maybe remember talking about this in junior high as saying keep, change, flip. So to divide fractions, you're going to keep the first fraction. You're going to change the sign from division to multiplication. And I'm just going to use a dot instead of a cross. And then you flip the last fraction, so 1/3 becomes 3/1. And notice that's what I'm doing. To divide these two fractions, I just multiplied by the reciprocal. Keep, change, flip is how you know it. I'm going to say multiply by the reciprocal. And now that we're multiplying fractions, it's easy. Just multiply straight across. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 1 is 5. There's your answer, 6/5. Or if you want to write it as 1 1/5, write it as a mixed number. Either way is acceptable. Down here we've got 5/8 divided by 10/16. Well, I'm going to keep, change, flip, or I'm going to say I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, same thing, and now I'm just going to multiply straight across. If you want to do that cross simplification, go right ahead. That would make this one really easy actually. However, I'm not going to make you do that. Okay, that's entirely up to you. So 5 times 16 will give me 80. 8 times 10 will give me 80. And hopefully everyone can simplify this fraction in their head. What's 80/80? Well, that's 1/1 over just 1.